So what is a proper retirement plan, Rose? Like I said, is it just putting money and then, so what are the key things to think about? So when you're saying, okay, I've gotten my first paycheck, I'm planning for my retirement, what is it you're planning for exactly? Is it just putting money away, or what entails retirement planning?
Okay. First, is important to think about retirement. What kind of retirement would you want to have? So when you're very young, you sort of don't have that clarity in terms of that you will have another life stage. Retirement is not a short period. It's actually a life stage that comes with its own issues, with phases, and even with transitions. Mm-hmm. It can last even a third of your life. So you need to realize that it's a long period of time that you're planning for. So in that period of time, when you might not be in a position to generate an income, you'll still need things like housing. You'll need an income to take care of other bills. You'll be advancing in age, and chances are that your medical expenses will be increasing. There are other transitions that could be happening within your family. For example, your children could be grown up, they've actually left home, but for some reason, they might actually need to come back home, and you might need to take additional responsibilities. So you need to have this in mind, and then save to ensure that when those issues come up, you'll be able to take care of them. Now, we encourage that you set aside your money for retirement in a dedicated vehicle for retirement, because life has its ups and downs. And if you don't segregate that investment for that later stage, chances are that as life happens, emergencies happen. Yep. You have a business, it collapses, you need to start another business. You're likely to
keep dipping into that.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that is why we encourage, separate your retirement, because it's long term, and while you're young, you still have the energy to actually try and improve the situation right now. So you set aside your money in a retirement benefit scheme where it is a vehicle designed for retirement. The nature of the investments that are done there are designed for retirement, and they give you the best outcome. They're managed by professionals, people whose work is to invest, bearing in mind who they're investing for and their needs. And also, we have Retirement Benefits Authority, which is a whole government entity that is focused on ensuring that members' benefits are well invested and well taken care of. So that is the right way of saving for retirement. It's not the only way. It's the best way, but you can also supplement that with other investments so that at retirement you can also have additional sources of income.
All right, so it's about having several. Yeah. What sort of pension schemes or retirement plans exist out there? I've heard of something that is defined, something that is non-defined, and when I come to Octagon and I give you my money, say it's 2,000 shillings every month, is it just, you know, a pot that I'm putting my 2,000 in, and I can, you know, what do you do with my money when I give it to you?
Yeah, there are two different types of retirement benefit plans. There's what we call a defined contribution and defined benefit. Now, defined contribution is ideally the name. Is the contribution is defined from the start of the establishment of the scheme. So we want to start our own scheme as an organization. We start a scheme, and we decide that we're going to contribute 5% as employees. The employer will contribute 10%, for example. That is put in the trust deed. That's a defined contribution. What happens is the contributions are invested over time. So of course, when you come and start saving, the money is not just put in a pillow and 30 years we'll give you, because inflation. You know, I always say inflation, 5,000 shillings in 1970. So all these kind of classes of investments, and of course you expect at the end of the year to have a return. Now, depending on what you call the asset classes that are provided for, in terms of whether equities, bonds, and all that, you can find that a scheme making a negative return or a positive return. And this shouldn't be a shock or a worry. A scheme is a normal long-term investment. Right. So there will be ups and downs. What you'll be concerned more is that in the long term, you should be able to get a better return more than inflation. Okay. That's what we will be able to take care of as Octagon Africa in terms of saving for your retirement. Okay. But the other type of scheme is what we call a defined benefit scheme. Now, defined every year, we will actually, and you will know that you're going to work for 30 years, we'll actually know how much pension you'll get at retirement. That's why it's called a defined benefit. Contribution is not determined. Okay. Now, that has been moved. I mean, we have now converted all of those schemes to defined contribution. Why? Two reasons. One is the understanding. Is that why you set up a retirement benefit scheme, Yvonne, is to get your members, to get your employees like you and retain those good staff and also attract good staff. But if they don't understand the scheme, how will they understand how they like it. So and defined benefit schemes are complicated. I have just tried to define it now, and I'm sure if I asked you, you'll give me a different answer, because
Yes.
you need
The 1 point divide by
1 over
times,
700
yes.
whatever. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? It becomes a bit complicated. So because of that, most organizations have gone to schemes that are easier communicated to employees.
Okay.
What are defined contribution, pure savings accounts.
All right.
The second reason is about cost management. Is that a defined benefit scheme, it is funded by the employer majorly. By the employer majorly. What happens is that the actuary comes in to be able to do an actuarial evaluation to determine whether the scheme is funded, is underfunded or overfunded. Then now the employer pays in contribution. And sometimes the actuary can come in and say your scheme is underfunded by 5 million.
So you need to put in...
So you have to put in 5 million.
Okay.
So because of that, it becomes a challenge.
All right, just hold it right there.
Yes.
And I think we've learned quite a bit.
Yeah.
And there's a question for me that we will come back and speak to you, Rose, for those who are running their small businesses and you have 2, 3, 4, 5 employees. You know, as Fred told us, it is a shame if you run a business and your employees are not on. So what happens for people who are running a small business and you have 2 employees? How do you do that when you're struggling with paying them a salary?